So once you have your Google Drive set up, we're going to move on to the next task here. We're going to use Audacity a lot in this module, and we're going to start today with kind of experimenting with it. Audacity is a tool that it lets you mix sound. So you can import lots of different tracks and mix them together to make new meaning. And so now that you've written a script, a draft of a script about your relationship to music, what we're going to do now is start remediating that into an audio file. Now, we can simply just read it. You can read that script and record it and make it into an MP3. Anybody could listen to it, but that's not as fun as what we can really do if we start collecting different sounds to enhance that meaning or even change that meaning of your script that you've gotten. So what this tutorial does is starts thinking about what would you collect, where could you collect it from. So I'm going to start. I'm going to share my screen here and go to today's task, today's plan. So I pull that up here. Hang on one second. We can see I've got different tracks here, 3 tracks that I want you to collect. One is free sound, right? There are lots of free sounds on the web that you can use. The second is ripped content, which will require a little bit of finesse using some tools on the web. And then the third one is your own voice, right? You're going to record your script in some way, although you don't want it to sound like you're reading it. So let's start with free sounds. I've got several different possibilities listed here on the plan. One of those is the BBC's sound effects site. So if you click on that link, it'll take you here. And they have different categories, right? So you can explore and browse different categories, and you can search different categories. So if you, if you have to really think back to your script. What did you write about, and what kinds of sounds would make sense if you read that script and you mixed in a different audio? So I don't know. One example might be I'm gonna see. I wrote a little bit about my background in Buffalo, so I'm gonna search for football, see if there's any footballs. Probably since this is a British site, it might be um, a different kind of thing. But what I can do is I can listen to these. You probably won't hear them given my audio setup, and I can download them here. So that's one option. If I do download them, one of the interesting things about it is these are WAV files, .wav files. These are an early audio format, and that's one of the lessons here is that we're going to have different kinds of formats. So if we go to a different database here, if I go back, I have a link here to the folk sound to me on archive.org. We're going to be using archive.org a lot in this particular module. Later on, we do the phono project. But for now, you can click on either of these links. The sound effects and recorded ambient section in particular is really interesting. So I'm going to go to that one. And in here, you can play different kinds of sound effects here. So again, I don't think you can hear this, but one of my favorites here is the Hanna-Barbera Lost Treasures sound. These are all different cartoon sounds, so you can choose one of these. So let's say you find one that you want. You can, of course, play it right in the browser. But to download these, you're going to go down to the download options here. Right, you can see this little gray box, and you're going to want to grab the VBR MP3 caret. So if you open that caret, you're going to find the track listing here. And what this is basically a difference between streaming it and downloading it. And so I'm going to let's say I just download this one. Typically, it'll pull it up in the browser. So what you might want to do is just click on these 3 carets. I'm using Chrome. It's different in every browser. So I hit download. And you can see this one, let me pause that, is an MP3. So it's not a WAV file, it's an MP3 file. So it's a different format, has the same basic function. One more free site that I wanted to talk about is Freesound. That's over here. Freesound is a huge database. You have to register for this site, but there's lots of great stuff here that you can choose. Jabba the Hutt laugh is one here. Let's just pick that one. And again, you're going to use the search or browse feature to figure out what sounds make sense for your script. How do you want to remix your script with particular sounds? I think this is the fun part. And here you can play these in the browser. And then you can also download them here. If I choose to download, this is also a WAV file. I think this site is mixed with different kinds of formats, but this is the WAV file here. So you can see type WAV. So those are the free sounds. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is find ripped content. So, in addition to these free sites that have people uploading different kinds of samples, you can also rip your own, right? Typically, this can be illegal if different sites are protected with intellectual property. Um, but since we're using this for an educational purpose, we're going to claim a principle called fair use. So what you need to do really is find a YouTube link of some kind. So if you're doing music, this is really easy. You would find the YouTube video of this posted. So let's just say, I don't know, I'm looking for um, De La Soul. It's one of my favorite bands. I'm going to search for YouTube, go to videos. And here I got Me, Myself, and I, really famous old track. Okay, and I got the link here. I'm just going to copy the link to my clipboard. I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, or you can do the shortcut. And then what you're going to find here, I have links on the plan to YT MP3, YouTube MP3. That's one place where you can translate that. And if you have your own machine, I highly recommend ClipGrab. That's I think that's Mac only, but there are some other, if you go to this Wikipedia entry on different YouTube downloaders, there are other ways you can download it. But this one's really easy. So I'm going to paste in that De La Soul video, and it finds it, and it says download. I'm going to choose MP3, going to download it, and voila, I have my MP3 of De La Soul down here. And this is also in my downloads folder. So now I've got several different free ones. I've got my De La Soul. The last thing I need to do is simply record my script. What to say about recording your script? You do not want to sound like you're reading your script. This is the major setback for students, where they sound like they're sitting down to read something off of a page. So you may want to practice this a few times, reading it aloud. This will be good practice for the final project in this module, where you're really trying to sound like a performer without being too overly dramatic. It's hard for amateurs to do this. That's why they pay voice actors. But this is a good chance for you to practice it. How do you record your voice? If you have an iPhone, the easiest thing to do is voice memo. And I'm gonna kind of switch over to a tutorial on my phone in a second. Before I do that, Android also has voice recorder. I do not have an Android, so I can't demo that. But there are a couple different ways you can record that and save it. And then once you save it, you can export it to your computer, which I'll show you in a second. So like I said, you can use your voice memo app on your iPhone to record really high quality scripts. So you're going to find that app just like I showed you there. And once you do, you hit record and you can record your script. You can do multiple takes, hit stop or delete. There's a lot of space available on there. So once you record it, you can go through and rename the file. You can edit the recording. You can duplicate it, copy it. There's a lot of different options there. So I'm renaming this script. It's just something simple that I'll recognize because, again, once I'm going to get this from my phone to my computer. So I've got script labeled. I'm playing it back now just to get a sense. You can't hear it, but just giving a test here. And then once I do that, I'm going to share it, and I can share it in a lot of different ways. I can airdrop it. I can text it. I can email it. So you use whatever method works excuse me, best for you.